Geno Auriemma calls them out, calls the team immature, and then there was some criticism of Paige Bueckers' action.
Geno Auriemma, the legendary coach of UConn, didn't hold back this time. He called his own players out, labeling the team immature, and he even aimed sharp criticism at his superstar Paige Bueckers. Think about that. Despite UConn's historic legacy, despite Paige's undeniable skill and talent, the crowds just aren't showing up anymore, and that's driving Geno crazy. The Huskies used to pack arenas coast to coast, but now we're seeing shockingly tiny numbers, games that can barely scrape together 135 fans in the stands. And that's not just disappointing, it's humiliating for a program that once defined dominance in women's basketball. So the question hangs heavy in the air. Why are fans no longer impressed? Why are they tuning out? And most importantly, is Paige Bueckers truly the next big thing the media claims she is? Or is she forever destined to live in Caitlin Clark's shadow? Because while Paige fights to pull people into the seats, Caitlin Clark has turned every arena she steps into a sold-out spectacle. And that contrast is shaking the foundation of the game.
Now, I'm talking really, really small numbers. I'm talking 135 people in attendance. Yeah, you heard me right. 135 people in attendance to watch the number 11 team in the country face Utah State during the Daytona Beach Classic. What?
Yesterday, in a game in the Bahamas, UConn played for 567 people. USC have had games at home in Los Angeles, in LA. They have had games with 3,000 of their 10,000-seater stadium. I've said this before. Caitlin Clark can go literally anywhere and she would fill it up. Like, if Caitlin Clark played a game in Ireland, let's say she went to the.
The truth is, UConn women's basketball has never been just another program. For decades, it was the gold standard, the dynasty, the team that defined what excellence looked like in women's sports. Geno Auriemma built his empire on dominance, discipline, and star power, from Rebecca Lobo to Diana Taurasi to Breanna Stewart. And now, Paige Bueckers was supposed to be the next torchbearer, the one to carry that legacy forward. But here's the shocking reality. That once unstoppable machine is suddenly struggling to draw even a fraction of the crowds it used to. Just recently, in the Daytona Beach Classic, the number 11 ranked team in the country faced Utah State. And how many fans showed up? Only 135. Yes, you heard that right, 135 people sitting in the stands for a powerhouse program that once packed arenas like rock concerts. Compare that to Caitlin Clark, who can walk into any gym in America or even overseas and instantly sell it out. The contrast is staggering, and it's raising a brutal question. Has Paige Bueckers, despite all her talent, failed to capture the imagination of fans the way Clark has?
If you're a college player and you're a great college player, like Caitlin was, the delusional fan base that follows her disrespected the WNBA players by saying she's going to go in that league and tear it apart. There were actually odds on she's third or fourth in betting odds on being MVP of the WNBA. These people are so disrespectful and so unknowledgeable and so stupid.
Geno Auriemma knows better than anyone that women's basketball is about more than just wins and losses. It's about energy, it's about connection, it's about filling arenas with fans who feel like they're witnessing something unforgettable. And right now, that connection feels broken. Even when Paige Bueckers takes the floor, the buzz isn't translating into ticket sales, and that's a nightmare for a program built on prestige. Look at the numbers. In the Bahamas, a UConn game pulled in only 567 fans. Meanwhile, USC, playing in a city as massive as Los Angeles, has struggled to get just 3,000 people in a 10,000-seat arena. But then you flip the page to Caitlin Clark, and the story changes completely. Clark doesn't just play basketball, she creates events. Every time she laces up, it's a sellout. She could step into a high school gym in Iowa or an arena in Ireland, and the seats would vanish in minutes. That's the Clark effect, the ability to turn basketball into a spectacle. And the uncomfortable truth for Paige Bueckers is this: while she might be one of the most skilled players in the country, her style hasn't captured the viral energy or cultural firestorm that Caitlin Clark brings to the table. And Geno knows that difference is costing his program dearly.
I want y'all to tell me, what do y'all not like about Caitlin Clark? Is it the media coverage? Do you not like that she complains after foul calls like everybody else? What exactly is the reason why I see so much hate on social media and from WNBA players? All she's doing is bringing more attention to the game, and she's very skilled. Like, whenever I watch Iowa games, her teammates always got an open shot. Please explain to me.
Geno Auriemma.
Paige Bueckers is undeniably gifted her court vision, her smooth jump shot, her ability to lead with quiet confidence are all elite. But talent alone isn't what makes a player a phenomenon. Caitlin Clark has become more than just an athlete. She's a cultural event, a highlight machine who pulls in casual fans, families, even people who normally don't watch women's basketball. Her deep threes, her fiery reactions, her swagger, those are the moments that explode across social media and flood timelines worldwide. Paige, by contrast, plays with an elegance that basketball purists love, but it doesn't always light up the casual crowd. That's the harsh reality. Clark thrives on the big stage, making fans feel like every game is must-see history, while Paige's quieter approach hasn't translated into viral moments or packed arenas. And for UConn, a program that once defined women's basketball, that lack of buzz feels like more than just a slump. It feels like a warning sign that the spotlight might be slipping away.
I'd like for her to get more creative with the ball, you know? I think there's times when, we started the game with her making a great play, you know, on that bounce pass to Ice. And she's either all into throwing a pass or all into I'm scoring no matter what. And there's got to be a little bit of a...
The numbers don't lie, and they sting. UConn, once the unbeatable juggernaut, is now struggling to draw more than a few hundred people in venues that used to be bursting at the seams. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is shattering attendance records everywhere she goes. If she played in Dublin or London tomorrow, the arenas would sell out in hours, packed with fans flying in just to witness her play. That's how global her reach has become. And yet, when Paige Bueckers, one of the most hyped players in the nation, takes the floor in the Bahamas, only 500 fans show up. When Juju Watkins plays in Paris, the seats are mostly empty. It's a brutal reminder that not every star translates into box office power. Geno Auriemma can rant, he can defend his players, but the reality is clear. The Clark effect is unmatched, and every game she touches turns into a spectacle, while UConn's games risk fading into the background. The contrast has never been sharper, and it's forcing everyone to ask whether Paige Bueckers can ever escape Caitlin Clark's shadow.
But now you ain't saying, oh, she's playing really well. That ain't what you were saying then. Y'all know who I'm talking to. I ain't gonna call your name, but you know who you were. Caitlin Clark is the real deal. She can actually play at an elite level. Unanimous.
Geno Auriemma hasn't been shy about his frustration. He's watched the empty seats, he's seen the comparisons, and he knows his star isn't commanding the same attention as Caitlin Clark. He's gone on record calling out the immaturity of his team, pushing them harder, almost daring them to rise to the challenge. But beneath his words lies a deeper problem: the marketing, the fan energy, the narrative. Clark has the highlight reels, the fiery charisma, the personality that grabs headlines and sells jerseys. Paige Bueckers, though incredibly talented, hasn't built that same aura. Fans on social media argue endlessly about Clark, some praising her, others criticizing her every move, but either way, she dominates the conversation. With Paige, it's silence, and that silence hurts. Because in sports, especially now, perception matters just as much as performance. And without the buzz, even greatness can feel overlooked. Geno knows it, the players feel it, and the fan base is starting to wonder, can Paige truly become the face of the game, or will Clark keep rewriting the rules of stardom by herself?
You know how many people watched the Iowa-Connecticut game? Caitlin Clark versus Paige Bueckers?
14 million people. Man, that's young Sheldon numbers.
And this is where the conversation gets uncomfortable, because every time Caitlin Clark breaks another record, sells out another arena, or drops another viral highlight, there's a wave of backlash waiting for her. WNBA players roll their eyes, critics on social media accuse her of being overhyped, and some fans complain she gets too much coverage. But here's the truth: she's earned every headline. Clark is dragging women's basketball into mainstream relevance in ways we haven't seen before. Long threes from the logo, fearless playmaking, a fire that electrifies crowds. She's not just a great player, she's a spectacle people can't stop talking about. And yet, Paige Bueckers, as good as she is, hasn't sparked that same reaction. She doesn't generate the debates, the arguments, the chaos that Clark does. And that's the irony. The hate Clark receives actually fuels her brand, while the quiet around Paige makes it harder for her to stand out. Geno Auriemma sees this imbalance, and it's why his comments about immaturity and frustration hit deeper than they sound, because he knows the gap isn't just on the scoreboard, it's in the spotlight.
These are kind of the bedrock of sports talk, so I'm never going to get mad at them or get tired of talking about them. I mean, I think LeBron James and Michael Jordan will probably be debated for the rest of eternity. In the women's basketball world, it's now everybody who's next with Caitlin.
As the season pushes forward, the pressure on Paige Bueckers and UConn only grows heavier. This isn't just about winning games anymore, it's about proving they still matter on the biggest stage. The Huskies' legacy is built on filling arenas, on carrying women's basketball into the spotlight, and yet, here they are, fighting just to get fans through the door. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark could announce a scrimmage in a high school gym and the place would be packed an hour later. That contrast is brutal, and it puts Paige in a nearly impossible position. Every time she steps on the court, the comparisons flare up: Clark versus Bueckers, viral star versus steady leader, sellout crowds versus half-empty gyms. And if Paige can't close that gap, she risks being remembered not as the next great UConn superstar, but as the player who came up short in the shadow of Clark's meteoric rise. Geno knows it, Paige feels it, and fans are watching closely to see if she can turn the narrative around before it's too late. The bigger picture here goes beyond Paige Bueckers and Caitlin Clark. It's about the future of women's basketball. Clark has shown that one player with star power, charisma, and a relentless style can transform the sport into must-see entertainment. Every game she plays becomes an event, every highlight floods the internet, and every arena she steps into feels like history in the making. Paige, on the other hand, represents the more traditional path: steady, efficient, fundamentally brilliant, but without the viral spark that drives today's sports culture. That's why the attendance numbers matter so much. They're not just statistics, they're signals of where the momentum is heading. UConn, once the undeniable epicenter of women's basketball, now risks fading from the spotlight unless Paige can break through and capture hearts the way Clark already has. The season ahead isn't just about rankings or wins, it's about survival in the narrative, about who will define this era. And right now, Clark has the crown, and Paige is left fighting to prove she belongs in the same conversation. So, here we are, staring at the hard truth. Paige Bueckers may be one of the most talented players UConn has ever had, but talent alone doesn't guarantee superstardom. Geno Auriemma knows it, the fans know it, and the empty seats prove it. Caitlin Clark has raised the bar to an almost unreachable level, turning women's basketball into a spectacle that grabs global attention. Paige, meanwhile, is still searching for that spark that transforms greatness into a movement. The comparisons won't stop: Clark versus Bueckers, sellouts versus silence, viral moments versus forgotten box scores, and until Paige finds a way to create her own Clark-level effect, the narrative will keep slipping away from her and from UConn. But the story isn't over. She has another year, another chance to write her own chapter, and Geno will push her every step of the way. The question is simple: will Paige rise and carve out her own legacy, or will she forever remain in Caitlin Clark's shadow? One way or another, this season will give us the answer.